Okay, students, good morning. So, I think we could wait for 2 to 3 minutes so that other students also can log in. So, kindly just log in on time, okay? If it is 10 a.m., just most of them join at 10 a.m. So, today is online HVAC online class day 4, right? So, last day we were dealing with kitchen hood regulation. So, we have seen the software in the sense we have found out to calculate the dimension of kitchen hood through an Excel sheet, right? So I think you have gone through the video that I have shared yesterday. I have already sent that video in the uh, mail. Okay. So if you have any doubt, you can go there and you can see once more. Yesterday some people were absent, so I kindly recommend them to watch yesterday's video, otherwise you won't be able to grasp what I am teaching today because I am taking the continuation of yesterday's class. So, those who are attending these classes, don't try to miss any class or don't try to skip any classes. Okay, so remember if you skip some classes, but still you go and see the video that I have shared already. Okay, so today also we will be dealing with kitchen hood. Only kitchen hood, car parking ventilation and toilet ventilation is also being taken today. And today we will continue with this kitchen hood manual method also. So we will be getting an idea about how to calculate it manually also. So yesterday we were dealing with kitchen hood, and we have seen how to design the kitchen hood, how to calculate the CFM or the air. Then after that we have to decide the duct size. Okay, the duct size is been we can calculate manually as well as we have duct size as software that will be taking in the coming classes. Okay, so at least you need to know if a stove is given. Okay, if a stove in your kitchen is provided, you should be able to calculate the kitchen hood. So yesterday we have studied different types of kitchen hood, different styles of kitchen hood, right? And two methods to find out the kitchen hood. Okay? One is Ashway method and one is Magna method. So today we will be just doing manually by the help of Magna method. Okay, so right today's date with the date 4, and if it's not, you know, you could on your video also. Okay, if you want, you can on your video. I so I can see you and I can teach you. Okay. So I don't know your response. So I don't know. Better if you on your video. That will be better. Okay. Then or how it will look like if I pause my video and if I teach. Will it be good for you? So if possible, you just on your video. Okay. And we can see if there is some internet problem or some issues like that. It's fine. Okay. Now we are going to be kitchen hood ventilation. Let me share my screen. We have seen this yesterday. So I'm not taking that. So we have seen this also. These are the two types of kitchen hood. One is wall mounted and one is island type. So according to different types of uh, kitchen hood, we have to change the formula. Sometimes the formula will be 2L plus W for wall type, and if it is an island, it will be 2L plus 2W. Okay, this is the perimeter. Sometimes if the kitchen hood is being placed or fixed on the wall, where the width of the kitchen hood is being placed, the formula will be like this. Okay, 2L plus W. If one side length is being placed on the wall, it will be L plus 2W. If the width is placed on the wall, it will be 2L plus W. Okay. When we are taking the perimeter, if the width or the length is been attached to that wall, that length should be excluded. For example, here, if the width of the kitchen hood is being hung on the wall, one width will be excluded. So the formula will be 2L plus W. If the kitchen hood, if this side, if the length is being fixed on the wall, the formula will be L plus 2W. Okay, according to that, you just change the formula. Okay, so the perimeter will be this L plus W plus L plus W. So where the kitchen hood is being hung, whether if it is width or whether if it is length, you just exclude that. Okay, this also I have taken yesterday. And these are the basic, some guidelines when designing the kitchen hood. Okay, this is we are dealing with the SMACNA method. Okay, now we are dealing with SMACNA method. If it's a heavy cooking, we have to multiply our perimeter with 200 to get our CFM. It's a medium cooking range. We have to multiply our perimeter with 150. If it's a light cooking, we have to multiply our perimeter with 100. So according to our cooking range, when we need to find out the CFM or the airflow, we have to multiply with 200 or 150 or 100. Okay? And the exhaust makeup air, the duct velocity, the speed of the air should be between 1500 to 2200 FPM. So this is the range. When we are designing, we have to give the velocity. Okay? So when they ask for a velocity, we have to give a range in between this. Okay? That to be terminated 40 inch above the roof, that I have already said to you yesterday. Cleanout should be provided. Okay, that also we have discussed. Duct metal gauge. Gauge means the thickness. Okay, it will be 16 gauge for galvanized steel material. It will be 18 gauge for stainless steel material. Construction, at least we should have 18 gauge minimum thickness. Okay? Gauge means the unit of thickness of that metal sheet. Okay? Black steel duct is used for all kitchen ducts. Okay? Mostly black steel ducts are being used. Stainless steel duct is used for laundry exhaust. Okay? Stainless steel, because moisture is present there. So, in order to prevent the rusting or corrosion, we have to use stainless steel duct. These are the, yesterday we have discussed about the different categories of stainless steel. 430 is there, 304 is there, 316 is there, 317 is there. Okay, so 304 type is mainly used for hoods. Okay, now coming to a problem, an example problem on kitchen hood ventilation system. So you have to do this, just work it out. Okay, and we can write it down. The question is the length of the stove and the width of the stove will be given. Okay, and the height of this, the height between the stove and the hood also will be given. Okay, it can be. I already said that it will be in the range of 0.8 to 1.2 meter. So it can be 800 mm or between 800 to 1200 mm or 0.8 to 1.2 meter. Okay. So we will be already knowing the length of the stove. We will be knowing the width of the stove, and we have to assume what should be our height, and the height should be between 0.8 to 1.2 meter. So you can choose a height appropriate to your design or to your wish. Okay. So in our question, as an example, here the length of the stove is 750 mm. Okay, and the width of the stove is 500 mm, and the height between the stove and the hood is 800 mm. So this is our question. Okay, so we have to find the hood size, kitchen hood size. Okay, we know this stove size. We have to find the kitchen hood size. Next, we have to find the CFM, exhaust air CFM, or the quantity of air that has to be exhausted. So that is the second one. Next, exhaust air duct size. So first we found the kitchen hood, then we found the air. Now this air has to be taken through the duct and has to be exhausted to a particular place. So next thing that we need to know is the duct size. So when we get the exhaust air CFM, if we get the quantity of the air, we could easily find the size of the duct. Now coming to fresh air. So that we will be getting fresh air. If we get the exhaust air, just multiply with 0.8, or you take the 80% of the exhaust air, you will be getting the fresh air. When you get the fresh air CFM, easily you can find the fresh air duct size also. Okay. So in order to find the duct size, you need CFM or air quantity. Okay. So we have formula for all these things. Okay. So here we are choosing a wall type hood and a medium hood. So we are choosing a wall mounted kitchen hood, and we assume that it is a medium hood. Okay. So first, how to find the hood size? What is the formula? The formula for finding the hood size is, you can see, the formula for finding the hood size is L. L means the length of the hood. We are going to find the length of the hood equal to L plus 0.8 into H. L means the length of the stove. Length of the stove plus 0.8 into H. H means the height. Okay. So the height is given in mm, length is given in mm, width is also given in mm. So you just convert it into meter and just find the answer of it. Write the length of the hood. So when you get the answer, you just give it on my chat box. This is the formula. L means the length of the kitchen hood, sorry, length of the stove, and 0.8 is the height between the stove and the hood. So you will be getting the answer in meter, the length of the hood in meter. So kindly, if you get the answer. When you get the answer, you just show me. Just give a chat. Okay. It's a very easy one. Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask me through the chat also. I want everyone to do. First one, the hood size. Yesterday we have gone through all those things and we have found the answer also. But now we are doing it in manual way. So in future, when you do this, it will be very easy for you. That's why I am trying to make you do. Okay. It's very easy one. Just give me the answer in meter. What is the answer in meter? And you want some calculator also, okay? Coming days we will be having some problems to solve. So kindly take the No one got the answer? What is the length of the kitchen hood? Just find the answer of this 0.75 plus 0.8 into 0.8. Okay, Kirti Kadakan has answered. That's fine, that's correct. By taking this much time. Point 0.75 plus 0.8 into 0.8. What's the answer? No one is there? Okay, Sarvana Kumar also answered that. If you have any difficulty also, you can message me, okay? Jacob Akhil is not there. Manivandan. Support any difficulty? Jacob, any difficulty in answering? Point 0.75 plus 0.8 into 0.8. It's fine, it's fine. You're on PC. Okay, no issue. Okay, I'm showing the answer. Okay. You can see here 1.39 is the answer. Okay, 1.39 meter. When you're multiplying 0.8 into 0.8 plus 0.75, we'll be getting our answer in 1.39 meter. So next what you have to do is that you have to convert that meter into feet, because the air, the unit of air, quantity of air or the discharge of air is in CFM, which means cubic feet per minute. So in order to find cubic feet per minute, this meter has to be converted into feet. So 1 meter is approximately 3.28 feet. Okay. So just you convert this meter into feet by multiplying with 3.28. So you will be getting the length of the hood in feet. Okay. So 1.39 is the length of the hood in meter. You just convert that into feet and you will be getting the answer. The same way you can find the width of the kitchen hood also. This is the formula. Capital W is equal to small w plus 0.8 into h. Small w is the width of the stove. So width is already given. 1 second. Width is already given. It is 500 mm. So 0.5 meter plus 0.8 into 0.8. We will be getting 1.14 meter as the width of the kitchen hood. So that also you convert into feet. So you will be getting in feet. So therefore the first one, kitchen hood size, the length and width of the kitchen hood is given. We have found it out, 4.55 and 3.73 feet. When you finish this, you just give a thumbs up. So I think this is clear for you. If you have any doubt, at last you can ask me, okay? So when you are writing this down, you just understand it and write, okay? So the first step is that we are finding the kitchen hood. So the formula is equal to length is equal to small l plus 0.8 into height. So give that value and find it in meter, then convert it into feet. The same way, the width of the kitchen hood, the formula is capital W is equal to small w plus 0.8 into h. Small w means the width of the stove and h is the height between the kitchen hood and stove. So from that we will be getting the size of the kitchen hood. So if you get a stove, according to the length and the width of the stove, we could find the length and width of the kitchen hood. Okay. So when you are designing a kitchen hood, you can use this formula. This formula would be helpful in designing the or knowing the dimension of the kitchen hood. So you just think about this, okay? From the cooking equipment, fumes are coming and it has to go through the kitchen hood. So you have to design the size of the kitchen hood. That fumes or that air or the amount of air is being taken through the duct. Next, we have to find out the size of the duct. Okay. If we need to know the size of the duct, we need to know the CFM, the amount of air. If we know the amount of air only, we will be able to size the duct. So the next step is to find the exhaust air CFM. CFM means the unit of the air, cubic feet per minute. Okay. So in SWACNA method, we know we have taken this question as a medium cooking range, right? We have assumed a wall type cook and as well as a medium cooking. So if it's a medium cooking, find the perimeter and multiply with 150. Okay. Where P is equal to 2L plus W. I think they have taken this width. I think the width have been placed on the, I think the width have been placed on the wall. So they have chosen this formula, 2L plus W. You can use whatever you want, okay? You can use the formula L plus 2W also, it's not an issue. How you are designing your hood, according to that, you can change the formula. If you want to write L plus 2W, it's fine. L plus 2W means the length is been placed on the, or the length of the kitchen hood is placed on the wall. So taking 2L plus W, which means that the width of the kitchen hood is being placed on the wall. Okay. Wherever if the length or width is being placed on the wall, if it is length, exclude one length. If it is width, exclude one width. So according to that, this formula changes. Okay. So CFM is equal to P into 150. Because we have chosen medium cooking range. Understood? If it is a light cooking, you just multiply your perimeter with 100. If it's a heavy cooking, you just multiply your perimeter P with 200. Okay. So here we have chosen it's a medium cooking. So find the CFM. You can use this formula also, no problem. If you are using L plus 2W also, it's not an issue. And find the perimeter and find the CFM. And give me your answer on the chat box. Perimeter means this. L you know. L means the length of the kitchen hood, okay? L means the length of the kitchen hood. W means the width of the kitchen hood. So W is already given. So when you are giving this L and W, give it in feet, okay? Give it in feet. Don't give it in meter, okay? Because the CFM is in cubic feet per minute only. So this L should be in feet. This W also should be in feet. So you have already found the feet in feet. Length also you found, feet also you found, width also you found in feet. Just insert in this formula and find the perimeter and just multiply with 150, you will be getting the CFM. Perimeter. Yeah, Kirti got the correct answer. Yeah, Vinu also got correct. 1924 point something you got, right? Give it as 1925. Yeah, 1924.5. Right, its unit also, okay, CFM. Right, its unit CFM. Next, what we need to do, when we got the exhaust air CFM, now we have to size the duct. You have to size the duct. So there are different types of duct you can use: round duct, square duct, rectangular duct. Okay, that is your wish. In the duct sizer software, you will be having an option. If you want square duct, you can make square. If you want rectangular, you can make rectangular. If you want round duct, you can make round duct. Just give this value 1925 CFM and give its velocity or a friction loss in that software. You'll be directly getting the the duct size. Okay. So right now we are dealing in a manual way. So we can do in a manual. We can size the duct in a manual way. Okay. So I believe you got this answer. The perimeter is 12.83 feet. And multiply your perimeter with 150, you will be getting 1925 CFM, cubic feet per minute. This is the exhaust air quantity or the discharge. Or this much air has been flowing through that kitchen hood. 1925 cubic feet per minute is been discharging through the kitchen hood. And that is going through the duct. Okay. So, next what we have to do, the third step is this exhaust air duct size. This exhaust air has been taken through the duct, right? So we have to size the duct. So this is the formula: Q is equal to A into V. Q is the discharge, A is the area, V is the velocity. So we have already seen that the velocity should be in between 1500 and 2200 FPM. So better you give 1800 FPM as the duct velocity. This 1800 will come only on kitchen hood, okay? Kitchen. But coming to car parking and all those things, it will change. Okay. For the time being, you just understand that give 1800 FPM as the velocity. This is in FPM. Okay. So from that you can find the area, right? Q is equal to A into B. Q is equal to 1925. A is equal to area that we have to find it out. B we know already. 1800. This mainly will be getting from SMACNA. Okay, SMACNA guidelines. So 1800. So divide by this, you'll be getting the area in square feet. Okay. This is the area of the duct. When you find the area in square feet, if you need to convert into square meter, okay, just multiply with 0.093. In the beginning and all, I have given you some conversions, right? So in that conversions, you just add this also. So in future, I think I have already given it, or if it is not given, just add in your first day notebook this conversion. Square feet to square meter, just multiply with 0.093. And converting the meter to feet, multiply with 3.28. Okay. That also you have 3.28. That also you just include it. I think this is already given, right, in the first day. You just add this also. So that in future, you can just see the first page and you won't forget. So you got the area of the duct, correct, in square feet. Now convert it into square meter by just multiplying with 0.093. So you will be getting in square meter. This is the area. If you get the area, can you find the diameter? You have written this. Okay, fine. Have you written this completely? If you need to find the round duct, area equal to pi d square by 4. Okay. You know the area in meter square. Pi equal to 3.14 d square by 4. From there you can find the d value. If it's a square duct, just a square now. Just give a root of 0.098, we will be getting 0.3 meter is equal to 300 mm. So the width and the height of the square duct is 300 to 300 mm. If it is a rectangular duct, area equal to width into height. So here, at least you have to give one height or width. Okay, you have to assume it. Then you will be getting the width. So this is very simple mathematical equations. There is nothing much to explain about this. So we can find the duct area, duct dimension. So in actual case, in a practical way, we don't want to do all these things. Okay, we just give you the CFM and the velocity in the duct sizer software. You will be getting all the values. Now for the time being, as we are doing it in manual, I am making I am making you to do this manually. That's all. Once you complete this, just give a thumbs up. Okay, just give a smiley. Just once you finish this, just give a smiley, okay? Otherwise, I won't be able to know who all finished. It is d square by 4. Normally, you can write pi r. This d means diameter. Okay, diameter square by 4. That's the formula. In rectangular duct, we just assumed, okay? So, here, it is built into height, right? So here we have assumed the height as 300 mm or 0.3 meter. So when we found out the width, we got 0.32 meter. So when you are sizing the duct, you won't give 320 mm or 310 mm or 315 mm like that. We'll be just giving a round amount like 300, 350, 400, 450 like that. Okay, usually when you are designing, okay, if you get the width as 0.32, which means 320 mm, right? So, but when actually when you are giving it, you just round it and give as 350. Okay. So this is approximately, you just round it and you have written as 350 mm. That's all. Now what we need to find it out? What was the next thing? The next thing was we have to find the fresh air CFM, right? Fresh air CFM. So directly you can find the fresh air CFM. If you get the exhaust air CFM, just multiply with 0.8, which means the fresh air CFM will be the 80% of the exhaust air CFM. So we have seen why we have taken 80% yesterday. Okay, if someone was not there, you just go through the yesterday's video, and you will be able to know why we have taken 80%. Okay, just multiply with 0.8 of the exhaust air CFM, you will be getting the fresh air CFM. The same way you size it for the fresh air duct also. Q is equal to A into V, and find it round duct. Find the round duct area, rectangular as well as square also. The same way you find it for that, and just give me the answer of it. See, and when seeing like this, if you get the value like 0.319, just round it and give the next rounded value. Okay, 350. Find the diameter of the round duct. Now the length and width of the square and the length and width of the rectangular. You have found the answer of this rectangular as well as square shape. And you can choose anyone, okay? If you wish to do round duct, you can choose round. If you wish to do rectangular or square, according to the application and situation, you have to change the style of the uh, duct. Maybe we have seen the rectangular ducts only, rectangular or square. Next classes we will be studying the differences between these different shapes. Okay? Which is the best or why we are using this type. We will be studying about the advantages and disadvantages of round, rectangular, and square shaped ducts. If someone get the answer, just leave it on the chat, okay? You can just verify your answer here. It might be 0.35, okay? I think it's 0.35. Let me check this. The height is been assumed, okay? You can choose your height, not an issue. But make sure that uh, there should not be any much difference. This 300, 350, okay, or 350 into 350, or 350 into 400. All the ranges should be at least, you know, come closer to each other. Okay, and the height is been assumed. We can assume it. Okay. Kindly check whether it is 0.25. I don't think it is 0.25. It is 0.35. It seems, right? Someone is asking what should be considered in real projects. We are doing it. We are doing according to a real project only. Okay. In real project, that's what I said. Mainly, we won't do these types of manual methods. We'll be having software for finding the height and width. In that case, we can just give the CFM as well as the uh, velocity, or CFM and friction loss. We'll be getting the size, width and height automatically. That software will be giving, and you can adjust that. Sometimes when you give the CFM and the velocity, it will give 350 into 350, or 350 into sometimes 350 into 400 in the case of rectangular duct. So we can adjust. So we can just give 200. So automatically it gives 350. So if you put 250, it automatically gives 300. That we can that the software will be changing it. We'll be getting the answer from the software itself. Okay, so don't worry about that. Someone got 300 into 300 mm for rectangular duct. So if it is 300 into 300, it will be a square, nah? It won't be rectangular, right? So I think if it is a rectangular, just give 350 into 300. If it is 300 into 300, you have already found now. That is the square. It's correctly it's square. But when you're dealing with rectangular, that the width and the height should not be equal. There should be some difference, right? So give 350 into 300. Once you finish this, you just give a thumbs up. Next, we can go to another topic. Okay. Now, I think this is fine for you, right? I think there is no doubt so far. If there is any doubt, you just chat on the last 10 minutes when I give you. Okay. Now, guys, I will show you, right, when we are designing in the AutoCAD, how this uh, island type as well as wall mounted type, how we will be designing and show you. Okay, in AutoCAD. Okay. So let's see that also. Let's see how to design it in a AutoCAD. Can you see the AutoCAD? What you are seeing right now? Can you see on the AutoCAD? Okay. First, I will show the wall mounted type. Okay. This wall mounted type I have drawn by the help of ASHRAE method. You might be knowing the ASHRAE method, right? The overhang, how much extension should be given. Okay. So this is the kitchen. Okay. This is the kitchen. This area is the kitchen, and this X shows the chimney or something like that. So I got this stove size 600 into 400. This is the stove. This blue color is known as the stove. Okay. So let's see whether it is 600 into 400. Yeah, it is 600. Okay. It is 400. Okay, 400 mm and 600 mm stove. So the next what I should do is that I have to make this kitchen hood. You can see a cyan color or a blue color. That is the kitchen hood. So kitchen hood I got size as 900 into 550. Why I got 900 into 550 is that I have did this with ASHRAE method. So this is a wall mounted kitchen hood. So as a wall mounted kitchen hood, 150 mm is the overhang that you might be knowing it. Yesterday we have gone through this overhang, which means the extension. Sideways 150, leftwards 150, rightwards 150, frontwards 150, and backwards 150. Here, backward you don't want 150 because it's a wall mounted, right? So, considering if it is a 150 mm overhang, so 600 is the, I think what is, we have taken 600 as the width, I think so. So 600 plus 150 plus 150, two sides. My voice is breaking. Now can you hear? Yeah. Now this is 600 into 400. 600 into 400. So considering 150 mm overhang, the 600 will be converted to 900, which means 600 plus 150 plus 150. 150 on the left side and 150 on the right side. You'll be getting 900. Okay. When it comes to 400, you'll be having only one side or the front side 150. Back side you will be excluding it. So you'll be getting 900 into 550. Or 400 plus 150 is equal to 550. So kitchen hood size you will be getting 900 into 550. This is not a SMACNA method, this is ASHRAE method, okay? We are dealing with the overhang. CFM per linear foot as per ASHRAE 90.1 table 210 CFM per linear foot. I think they have, I have taken the minimum flow. Okay. So this is the formula we have already known. P is equal to L plus 2W. L is equal to 0.9. You can see length of the kitchen hood is equal to 900 mm, which means 0.9 meter plus 2 into width. Width is 55.55. You got 2 meter. I think I got 2 meter, which you convert to feet. I got 6.56 feet. You don't want to copy all these things. Just I have shown you how to draw it. You know how to take the dimension of all these things. You know, right? We have already did it. Now exhaust flow it's CFM. We just multiply this feet into 210. 210 you will be getting from the chart, ASHRAE chart. Okay. You'll be getting 1378 CFM. For duct sizing, consider velocity 1800 FPM. Okay. And make a flow rate considering 80% of exhaust airflow, you will be getting 1103 CFM. So 80% of 1378 CFM is 1103 CFM. So these calculations you know, right? We have seen yesterday and we have uh, found out the answer yesterday itself. Okay. Now see this. The stove we know already. The stove size is already given only 600 into 400. By using overhand formula by Ashray method, we found the hood size is equal to 900 into 550. Right? So our first step is over. So we found the hood size. After finding hood size, we will be finding the CFM. Okay, CFM also we found 1378 CFM by using the tabular column. Why we have used the tabular column? Because the method we are using right now is Ashray method. In Ashray method, we have to use tabular column. In SMACNA method, you can use the formula. Okay. So from Ashray method, you found the exhaust air flow rate in CFM equal to 1378 CFM. Okay. So what I have done is that I got the exhaust air duct size is equal to 300 into 250 CFM. From my software, directly I have furnished from software. That software I will be taking in coming classes. Okay. We'll be having time to take software. So I will take that during that time. Now you can see this. Stove, kitchen hood. This shows the exhaust. Okay. This means the air is coming from down to the top. This one. This implies that the air from the kitchen hood is being taken towards upward. Okay. That is this arrow. This shows the exhaust. Then through the duct, it is going inside. Okay, it is going inside. This X sign shows that this is a wall. Okay, I think you can see this. This is a wall. You have to break that wall. Then only this duct will go through this. So this shows a breaking of the wall. Okay, ISO wall. Okay, this is the breaking of the wall. That is shown like this. Okay, like an X. And it goes inside, and through the chimney, it goes upwards. Okay. So this is the stove, kitchen hood, duct coming upwards, going there. Again, it goes upwards. Through the chimney, it goes to a place where that we need to exhaust it. Okay. Now coming to the supply. Supply, you know, it is 80% of 1378. Which means 80% of 1378 is 1103 CFM. Okay. F bar A shows from above. It is not from above, it is to above. Okay. Let's see. It is to above. Is to above. Okay. The air is coming and it is going to above. From top, you could have said that it is from above. To above. Okay, to above. From top, you could have said that it is from below. It is to above. Okay. Now, this is the fresh air duct. Okay. The pressure is being taken from the top, so the side changes. This shows the fresh air. The symbol of fresh air is this. The symbol of exhaust is like this. And I will be taking in some classes. Okay, the symbols. When we are studying about the duct, I will take about the symbols. Okay, different symbols. So this is the fresh air. From the top, it is coming down, and it breaks the wall. You can see here, and the size of the fresh air duct, FAD means fresh air duct, is 300 into 250. Here also you can take 300 into 250 for 1103 CFM. This 300 and 250, you got it from duct sizer software only. Okay, it goes there and it goes to a grill. So this is the grill. Through this grill, the air will be coming to the kitchen, and you have to size this grill by the help of another software known as Beta software. That also will be taken in the coming class. So this is the kitchen hood. This is the exhaust and this is the supply. Okay. When you get this stove size, you'll be getting the kitchen hood. Okay. Then you can size the. Okay. This is Magna method. This is the ASHRAE method. See, stove hood size you will be getting by the help of formula. Okay. You can give the velocity. We have just did right now. Okay, a problem we have already solved. Okay, so you got the same way. ASHRAE, and we have taken basically 150 of the perimeter. You got this. You can use any two method. When it comes to island type, you can see here. This is in the center. Okay, this is in the center. The stove is in the center. The same way you have to give the kitchen hood in the center. This is the duct through which exhaust is being taken and it is exhausted out. So here they have given two supply. See, one here and one here. So according to your design, you can do whatever you want. If you want to give one supply, we can give like that, or if you want to give two supply, you can give like that. Okay, you can split it and give. Understood? This is the Magna method and this is the ASHRAE method. You can use any method, that's not an issue. Okay, best you go for Magna method. You just go with the formula, that will be better. Okay, you can use any formula, it's not an issue. You can use any method, that's not a problem. You'll be getting the same. Okay, so this is the kitchen hood. Okay, I will explain once more. You need to know the length and width of the stove. If we know the length and width of the stove, we could easily find the length and width of the hood. When you found the length and width of the hood, the next step is you have to find the CFM. Okay, the CFM you could get it from this formula, perimeter into 150. So you have to find the perimeter according to what type of kitchen hood that you are using. If you are using island type, you have to add all four sides. If you are using wall mounted type, you have to exclude one side. So you will be getting a perimeter. Then you multiply that perimeter with the CF, with the 150 or 100 or 200 according to your application. You will be getting the CFM. When you get the CFM, just go to the duct sizer software and give that CFM and its velocity. You will be getting the duct size. So the next one is duct size. So you can see here, exhaust air duct, EAD. When I have given my CFM into the duct sizer software, I got 400 into 350 CFM. The software itself will give that value. So I have designed according to that. 450 into 400 into 350. You can see whether this 400 into 350. This is 400 into 350. Okay, 400 into 350. This symbol shows exhaust. Okay. This symbol shows it breaks the wall. Okay. This is grill through which, or air terminal, through which air comes to your room. This is kitchen hood. This is duct. Okay. This is the branch duct. This is the main duct. This is the branch duct. through the supply air will be passing. This this symbol shows the fresh air. The symbol shows fresh air. Okay. I think you have understood this about the kitchen hood. Okay. There's nothing much to study about this. So you have understood how to design a kitchen hood, right? You have seen the CAD drawing also. You have got Excel sheet also. So easily you could find out the duct size, not duct size, kitchen hood size. Okay. Then you use the formula and find the CFM. When you find the CFM, you can find the duct size. So that's it. So it's finished. Now, kitchen hood ventilation is over. Now we can deal with toilet ventilation. Okay. So now we can deal with toilet ventilation. So this ventilation system is being worked by some properties known as like infiltration and exfiltration. Okay. We'll be taking the air from inside and we'll be exhausting out, and that outside air might be coming inside. So there will be a ventilation, there will be an exchanging of air. Okay. So just write the heading toilet ventilation. So we have finished kitchen hood ventilation. Now write toilet ventilation. I will share my screen. These are all very simple topics only, okay? Toilet exhaust system or toilet ventilation. Okay. These are the two main things which comes in residential toilets or wherever it might be. One is known as infiltration. Okay, you have to keep these technical terms in your mind. Okay, infiltration, exfiltration, like that. So, what is infiltration? It is an unwanted air coming out from outside, okay, through window, cracks, or wall openings. Okay. It can be unwanted air or good air, whatever it might be. Infiltration happens if a negative pressure is created inside the room. So you can see here. When an exhaust fan is given into this particular room, the air will be sucked by this exhaust fan and it will be pushing outside. So automatically, when air is being sucked from this particular room, a negative pressure is being created because the air is being sucked from the room, right? So because of that negative pressure, what happens? Infiltration occurs. Infiltration means the outside air will come inside through some cracks or window openings or walls opening, something like that. So when you are giving an exhaust here, a negative pressure is created. So an infiltration occurs, which means the outside air will be coming to the room automatically, because the positive air travels from the air will travel from positive to negative. Okay, to maintain equilibrium, right? So wherever there is a negative pressure, the air from the positive side comes to the particular room if there is a negative pressure. Okay. So infiltration happens if the negative pressure is created inside the room. That you understood. Okay. What is exfiltration? The opposite of it. It is an air leak away, leaking out from the room through window cracks or wall openings. Exfiltration happens if the positive pressure is created inside the room. Understood? If a positive pressure is created inside the room, exfiltration happens. The positive pressure mainly comes because of the fan, not exhaust fan, supply fan. When your air is being supplied to a particular room, that air, the room becomes positive pressure. So it has a tendency to push it out. So it comes out through some cracks or walls or openings like that. So that term is known as exfiltration. Infiltration means it will be coming inside. Exfiltration means it will be expelled outside. Understood? Okay. In the residential toilets, exhaust fan is provided and pressure enters. Okay. So you can write this, and before that, uh, in toilets and all, you have seen uh, exhaust fan, right? In toilets, you have seen exhaust fan. So when a negative pressure is created in that particular toilet, from where this air from outside come to the particular room, how the air from the outside or how the outside air comes to the toilet. Is there any answer? See, but what I have asked is that ventilation means the exchange of indoor and outdoor air. Correct. In toilet, we are dealing with toilet ventilation. In toilet ventilation, usually we will be giving exhaust fan. When an exhaust fan is given, a negative pressure is created inside the room. Right. So the outside air will come inside. Right. So is there any provision which is given inside the toilet, or from where this outside air come to the particular toilet? How can this outside air can come into the particular toilet? Can anyone answer this question? From where this outside air will come to the toilet? Is there any provision? Through windows. Uh, sometimes in toilets and all, we will be giving windows. Sometimes in toilet we'll be giving windows, apart from exhaust fan. Or, uh, yeah, okay, that is a natural ventilation only. Windows means it's a natural ventilation. Okay, the toilet is a closed cubicle, right? We won't open doors when we get into the toilet, right? But still we need what? Air to come to our room. So I don't know whether you have seen or whether you have noticed there is a below the below the door there is an undercut. There is a cut there. There is an undercut. Okay, or some portion of the door will be lifted up. I think you have recognized that. Okay. Again, if you are going somewhere, you just notice it. In toilets and all, below the uh, door, some part will be open. There will be a square shape or a rectangular shape, some grills or something like that. That is known as undercut. Okay, door undercut. Okay, why we are giving door undercut is that it is a provision for the outside air to come to the particular. Okay. So, there will be an undercut, door undercut will be there. In the residential toilets, exhaust fan is provided and pressure enters the toilet through door undercut. There will be a small rectangular opening. And so after this, you are comfortable. And just write this also. So in some interview question, someone asks you like this, you should be able to answer it. So you know what is the purpose of ventilation in toilets, right? You know what is the purpose of ventilation in toilet, right? Okay. So basically we have two types of toilets. One is private toilet ventilation and second one is public toilet ventilation. Okay. Two types are there. Public toilet ventilation and private toilet ventilation is there. Okay. So, private toilet is a specified enclosed cubicle toilet. Okay. And the applications are residential, individual, office, toilet, etc. will be coming in. Okay. Private toilet. Toilet means, large space with the cubicles and urinals or commercial spaces. Okay, that is known as public toilet. So two types of toilets will be there. You normally will be knowing it. Public toilet as well as private toilet. So the examples of private toilet are residential, individual, office toilet, etc. will come under private toilet. And when it comes to the public toilet, large space with cubicles and urinals for commercial spaces. Okay, that will be coming in public spaces or public spaces or public toilet. Now you have to keep this in mind. Okay, there are two types of ventilation. One you can just give directly an exhaust fan to your toilet. That is non-ducted system. We are not using any duct because mainly this toilet will be on the sides. So you can give an exhaust fan directly, and that exhaust gas or the exhaust air will be exhausted outwards. But when it comes to some other applications, sometimes the toilets will be in the center portion. So you won't be able to directly exhaust. If you try to directly exhaust that air, it will reach the other room. So in such situation, what you have to do is you have to exhaust the duct through the duct. You have to exhaust the air through the duct. Okay. So in toilet, that ventilation or that type of ventilation is known as ducted system. Okay. That type of ventilation is known as ducted system. So there are two types of ventilation in toilets. One is ducted system and another one is non-ducted system. One is ducted system and another one is non-ducted system. Non-ducted system, we will be using exhaust fan directly on the wall. So we can exhaust it directly out. But in some toilets and all, the toilets will be in the central area. So you cannot be able to exhaust directly to outside. In that case, what you have to do? You have to exhaust the air or the inside air of the toilet through the duct, and you can exhaust it to a proper area that you want. Okay, so that too you have to keep it in mind. And another one important thing is that when you are using this ducted type or a duct to ventilate the air inside the toilet, the air terminal that you use there is known as disc valve. DISC, disc. valve. This valve we can just directly place on the ceiling of the toilet. Okay? And that this valve will help to suck the air and check it out. You can just see the Google and you can see the disc valve. Or I will show you. Okay, what do you mean by disc valve? Okay, let's see. So you'll be getting an idea. 1 second. Disc valve. Okay, disc valve. Okay, Kirti is having some network issue. It's okay, Kirti. It's okay. No issues. It's fine. It's fine. No problem. Now I will share my screen. So you can see here. This is known as disc valve. Okay, disc valve for exhaust. So you can place this into this ceiling, fall ceiling. So it has a spindle and it will suck the air. And you can adjust its spindle, okay? You can bring it down, you can bring it up according to the air speed that you want or the quantity that you need to put it out. You can adjust this. Okay, through this opening, the side opening, the air will be sucked. And the end of this is being fixed by the duct. And the air will be passing through the duct and you can exhaust it out. Okay, this is known as disc valve. Okay, we have different sizes of disc valve. Okay, this is disc valve. Okay, this is disc valve. Okay, through this, the air will be coming inside. Okay, this will be fixed on the ceiling, and through the duct, the air will be taken out. Okay. So you have to keep this in mind. Okay. Mainly the exhaust that we place is disc valve in toilets. Disc valve. Okay. Now we have to know the ACH value. Okay, we have to know the CFM, right? We have to find out if you want to design a kitchen, I mean a toilet ventilation. Listen here carefully. If you want to design a toilet ventilation, the first thing is that we need to know the amount of air that has to be exhausted out. Okay, you need to know the amount of air in that particular toilet that needs to be exhausted out. The unit of air or the discharge of air is CFM. So here we are dealing with ventilation only. So the formula that to find out the ventilation or the formula to find out the CFM in that particular toilet is Q is equal to volume in meter cube into ACH, air change per hour by 1.7. That is the formula. Okay. So I will show you my notes. So you have to write this formula. We are dealing with ventilation only, we are not dealing with air conditioning, we are dealing with ventilation only. So for ventilation, CFM is a must. Okay. So CFM means the amount of air that has to be exhausted out. To find out that CFM, we have a formula. Whatever it may be, if it is a car parking or if it is a toilet ventilation, we need to know the CFM. The CFM is known by using a formula. Okay, that formula is volume of the room in meter cube into ACH, air change per hour. How much times you need to change your air? How much in an hour? How many times it should be circulated? Divided by 1.7. Okay. You can see that's us to find out ventilation of toilet. First one is ACH method. ACH means air change per hour. Air change per hour. So this is the formula. You can use any two formulas, okay? The answer you will be getting in CFM only. If the area or if the length and width and the height of your toilet is given in meter, you can use this formula. V in meter cube, which means volume in meter cube into ACH by 1.7. I will say what will be the ACH value. I will say, okay. Or you can use this formula. V in heat cube into ACH by 60. That means it has been converted. That's why it is given. Okay, 60 and 1.7. This is a very important formula. So when you are trying to design something, this formula is very important to find this CFM. You can use any formula. If your length is given in feet, you can use this formula. If your length and width and height is given in meter, you can use this formula. The answer you will be getting in CFM. Both you will be getting in cubic feet per minute. That is the quantity of the air or the discharge of air. So volume you can easily find it out. Then they give the length and width and the height of the toilet. Now coming to ACH, this is air change per hour. Okay, write ACH values. Below that you write ACH values. For private toilet, it is 10 ACH, 10 ACH. For private toilet, it is 10 ACH. For public toilet, it is 15 ACH, 15. So when you are giving a value ACH here, if it's a private toilet, just multiply with 10. If it's a public toilet, just multiply with 15, 15. So ACH values for private toilet, it is 10 ACH, and for public toilet, it is 15 ACH. So you can directly find the CFM value here. Okay, when you get the ACH value. Okay. Now this is the first method, ACH method. Next, you can directly, the ASHRAE has been giving a direct method, which means that for a public toilet, you can directly take 70 CFM per unit. You don't want to use this formula. Directly, you just give 70 CFM. It's a public toilet. If it's a private toilet, you just give 50 CFM per unit. That is a recommended ventilation rate by ASHRAE. Okay. So write second point or second method, ventilation rate by ASHRAE. Ventilation rate by ASHRAE. You can see here, ventilation rate by ASHRAE. For public toilet, it is 70 CFM per unit, and private toilet, it is 50 CFM per unit. So you can use the formula and you can find the CFM, or you can just directly write this 70 CFM directly. But the problem is, the ASHRAE is giving a standard dimension of the toilet. Okay, it is 2 into 3 meter. The size of a standard toilet is 2 into 3 meter. 2 meter width and 3 meter length. So if that is the case, you just give 70 CFM for public toilet per unit, and private toilet you give 50 CFM per unit. It is not necessary that you need to find it out from the formula. This is the recommended value by ASHRAE. If the toilet is coming under 2 into 3 meter, okay, sometimes the toilet can be very big, so you don't just give 70 CFM for that toilet. Okay, that will be wrong. In that case, you will just find it from the formula. If it is a standard toilet, you just give 70 CFM per unit, and for private toilet, give 50 CFM per unit. Okay. and below in a box you write standard or write size of a standard toilet. Size of a standard toilet is 2 into 3 meter. 2 into 3 meter. And just write as a note also. Just write as a note, NOT. Disc valves are used as ventilation in toilets. So don't forget it. Disc valves are used as ventilation in toilets. Disc valves are used as ventilation in toilets. Okay. So just we can see the step-by-step process or calculation or a load calculation in ventilation system. Okay, we can just see step-by-step way to find the if to find the ventilation at toilet. If someone asks you to design a toilet ventilation, if a toilet is given to you, and if I am asking that we need to design ventilation for your toilet, which I have given, what you will do? I will give you an architectural drawing of a uh, toilet. What you must supposed to do? How you are going to deal with this? If I am giving a kitchen book, or if I am giving a kitchen, for example, if I am giving a kitchen to you, will you be able to design a kitchen hood? Kitchen hood with its CFM, with its duct size. You will be able to design it, right? Now, if I am giving you a toilet, an architectural drawing of a toilet, and I am asking you that please you design a ventilation system for my toilet. What you will be doing, or how you are going to calculate its load or CFM. Okay, so that we are going to see. So when you are doing something, just go in a step by step. Okay, so write the heading: load calculation of ventilation system. Load calculation of ventilation system. Someone is asking 2 into 3 is for public. Now both it's a normal standard size. Okay, if it's a private or a public, whatever it might be, it is 2 into 3 normally. 2 meter width and 3 meter length. Okay, the size of the toilet. But mostly it is not the case. Okay, when we are deciding, it will be different. Sometimes it will be more than that also. Okay, so we have to know the actual size, but the standard size is 2 into 3 meter, whether if it is a private or a public toilet. Now write the heading: load calculation of ventilation system. Load calculation of ventilation system. Load calculation of ventilation system. Step 1, write step 1. Step 1. Calculate the total air to be exhausted. 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 What do you mean by that? Calculate the total air to be exhausted. The first step is to find the load calculation of ventilation system. The first step is calculate the total air to be exhausted. What do you mean by that? Just give a chat. What do you mean by calculate the total air to be exhausted? Actually, what we are finding it out in this first step. Anyone? Step 1 is saying that calculate the total air to be exhausted. So how to find the total air to be exhausted? How can we find out this first step? Is there any formula or something like that? Anyone? So we calculate the total air to be exhausted means that we are finding the CFM. Actually, we are finding the CFM. Okay. So we know the formula. Volume in meter cube into ACH by 1.7. Okay, that is the formula. So initially we are finding that out. Okay, calculate the total air to be exhausted, which means that we are finding the CFM. Okay. Second one is fan capacity calculation. If we get the CFM, okay, now we can find the fan capacity. If I got 1000 CFM, okay, my capacity of the fan also should be 1000 CFM. If 1000 CFM is there in my particular room, that 1000 CFM has to be exhausted out, right? So the capacity of my exhaust fan also will be 1000 CFM. But the thing is that when you just take a catalog of some exhaust fan, the unit will be given in CMHL, cubic meter per hour, not CFM. Cubic meter per minute, not cubic feet per hour, it is CMH. So in that situation, what you have to do is that to find the CMH, if you get CFM, just multiply with 1.7. Just multiply your CFM with 1.7, you will be getting the CMH value. Why? Because in some catalogs, the capacity of the exhaust fan is given in CMH, not in CFM. So if you get CFM, just multiply with 1.7, you will be getting CMH. So that is the second step, step 2, fan capacity calculation. Fan capacity calculation. Or I will share my note. You might be making some mistakes. Okay. So first step is calculate the total air to be exhausted, which means we have to calculate the CFM by using that formula. Volume in meter cube into ACH by 1.7 or volume in feet cube into ACH by 60. You can use any formula. Next, to find the fan capacity calculation, the fan capacity normally will be given in CMH. So when you get the CFM, just multiply with 1.7, you will be getting CMH. The third important step is calculation of static pressure of the fan. When we need to calculate the static pressure is if we are using duct. Okay, if you are using direct exhaust fan, we don't want to calculate its static pressure because how much air is being produced, that air will be automatically sucked by this fan and it will be ejecting out. But when it comes to ducted ventilation, you need to take this air from your particular room to a particular location, which will be 10 or 15 meters away from your room. So that air is being taken through the duct. So what happens when the air is taken through the duct? There will be elbows, there will be reducers, all will be there in the duct. So friction loss can happen. Friction loss can happen. So if there is friction loss, the amount of air that has to reach to a particular location won't reach there because of the friction loss. It will opposite, or you can call it as static pressure. So in that case, you have to calculate the static pressure also or the friction loss also. So when you are choosing an exhaust fan, you have to know the static pressure as well as the CMH or CFM value. Okay. So for calculation of static pressure of the fan or friction loss, if it is a straight duct, take 0.07 inches of water column per meter. Okay. If it is a 10 meter, just multiply 10 into 0.04 inches. So you will be getting the static pressure of straight duct. There will be sometimes 90-degree elbow will be there. So it is 0. Not 0.02, it is 0.2. Okay, 0.2 inches of water column per elbow. .2 inches of water column. It is not 0.02, just write 0.2. It is a normal condition, okay? Don't always use this thing, okay? We'll be having a software known as ASHRAE duct fitting software through which we'll be getting the correct value of this static pressure. If it is a 45-degree elbow, give 0.1 water column per elbow. Afterwards, you just add all these things and you'll be getting the final value. And when you are choosing a fan, give the static pressure, the total static pressure as well as the CMH or CFM value. You can choose the exhaust fan like that. So the first step is finding the CFM. Second step is converting that CFM into CMH. Third step is finding the static pressure. Calculation of static pressure. So static pressure, if it's a straight duct, you can just multiply with this. There will be some fittings like elbow. Give 0.2 inches of water column as elbow. If it is 5 elbow, just multiply 5 into 0.02. Not 0.2, 0.2. If you have 45-degree elbow, for example, just multiply 10 into 0.1. Then add all those things and you will be getting the total static pressure or friction loss. Okay, that is the third step. Now, fourth step, what you have to keep it in mind is that when coming to the fourth step, see, there will be sometimes if you are using a duct, there will be many branches. If there are many toilets, if there are so much of toilets, you will be having different branch ducts. Okay, so in that cases, you don't want to calculate for all the branch duct. What you have to do is that take the maximum or the largest duct or the critical duct. You can take any critical duct or the largest duct. That might be enough. And from that largest duct, you just see the friction loss. You don't want to calculate the friction loss for all the small branch duct also. In that case, if there are many branches, take the longest length of the duct. Okay, and find the friction loss. That would be enough. Okay, so write step 4. To calculate the actual static pressure, you calculate the actual static pressure, we consider the longest path. We consider the longest path. We consider the longest path or the critical path, whatever might. You can choose the longest path or any critical path. Sometimes this static pressure will be giving in inches of water column. Sometimes it will be giving in mm of water column or water gauge. Okay. So 1 inch of water column is equal to almost 25.4 millimeter of water column. 1 inch of water column is equal to 25.4 mm of water column. Okay. Now, last step, step 5. Last step, step 5. Step 5, selection of exhaust fan. Selection of exhaust fan. So when you get this CFM and static pressure, you can just choose the exhaust fan. Okay, or you will be having a performance curve in which you can choose the correct exhaust fan. Okay, on the x-axis you will be getting the CFM, and the y-axis you might be getting the friction loss or static pressure. According to that, you can choose the correct exhaust fan. If it not, you can just know the CFM or CMH value with the static pressure. You can choose from the catalog. Okay. So, step 5, selection of exhaust fan from performance curve. Selection of exhaust fan from performance curve. Selection of exhaust fan from performance curve. So the load calculation of the inflation system, we have 5 steps. The first step is find the CFM or calculate the total air to be exhausted. The second step is when you get the CFM, you just convert that CFM into CMH. Okay. Why? Because usually or normally the capacity of the exhaust fan will be given in CMH in catalog. CFM also it will be given. If it is given in CFM, no problem. If it is in CMH, just multiply your CFM with 1.7, you will be getting CMH. So you got the CMH or CFM value. The second step is, or the third step is, you have to find the static pressure or frictional loss. Okay. So in that case, if it's a straight duct, give 0.01 as the 0.004 inches of water column as the per meter as the friction loss. If it is a 90-degree elbow, 0.2 inches of water column. Okay. If it is 45-degree elbow, give 0.1 inch of water column as the friction loss. Then add all those things. So you got CFM and you got the total static pressure. Okay. The static pressure we can find it from a software known as ASHRAE duct fitting software. Okay. Why? Because like the friction loss mainly of course because of this fittings only. Fittings like elbows, reducers, Y joints like that. Whatever fittings that comes in through the duct path, there creates a frictional loss or a static pressure. So we got the CFM, then we got the static pressure. By that, by the help of the performance curve or directly from the catalog, we can find the exhaust fan. Okay. So we could wind up for today, and I will show you the CAD drawing of this toilet ventilation tomorrow. Not only that, we can deal with the car parking ventilation also. Okay. So, is there any doubt in today's topic? You can just chat. If there is any doubt, you can chat in this chat box. We have studied about toilet ventilation. We have just seen about some rest of the topic regarding the kitchen hood. We have gone through some topics or some problems also. Any doubt? You have 5 minutes. Yeah, toilet and kitchen must have separate exhaust duct. Yeah, because both are different rooms, right? Toilet is a separate cubicle. Kitchen, you know, now. Mainly in kitchen, we'll be giving kitchen hood. Okay. If you want, if you excluding kitchen hood, you can just give a normal exhaust fan. That might be enough. Toilet also you can use exhaust fan as well as you can use disc valve in case if there is some duct or something like that. So kitchen is different from toilet. So you must give a separate exhaust ducts. So you ask exhaust duct. Yeah. The PDF file won't be given. Just you can just study from here, and the softwares and Excel sheet will be given to you. Okay. I have just uploaded in the drive, and let me see. Uh, will give you the link of the drive, so you can just see or download it from there. So I think there is no doubt. There is no doubt. So we can wind it up. So just give a thumbs up if you're satisfied. On the formula, I missed what WC stands for. Which formula? WC? Water column, water column. Okay. You can call it as water column, WTRCOLUM, or water gauge. That is the unit. Okay. That is a unit. Inches of water column or inches of water gauge in per meter or whatever per elbow. You can give like that. The formula of static pressure is inches in water column. Inches. Not just inches, inches of water column or inches of water gauge. So I think you could wind it up. So thank you, students. Thank you so much. So the link will be the link of this video will be forwarded to you today itself. If you have any doubt, just go through it. Okay. So thank you so much. Thank you.